Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. We are coming to you with a special broadcast because you can see we are in the same location. Hey, sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Oh, okay, a little more volume there for the people so they can hear
I
you.
didn't want to feel like I was hollering.
No, you ain't got to feel like you're hollering. If you're watching out there tonight, thank you for tuning in to our special 4th of July episode. We wanted to have a little conversation on hot topics and what does independence really mean in our current society. So if you're tuning in, make sure you like, follow, share, tell somebody else that this is the end of y'all day. If you done had the barbecue, you already done had it. Come on over here, get into this Hey Sister, and make sure you join the conversation in the comments. That's where the action is, in the comments. And we want to just, you want to just dive right in, or do you want to give a little setup?
No, I mean, we might as well. It's 8:01 here, so it's probably going to take us the whole hour.
Yeah, it's probably going to take us some time. It is what it is. Hey,
Jody!
I got a text coming to you later, girl. But tonight we're going to start off with hot topics. Trying to decide, should we start off with the heavy hot topics or the light hot topics? Or we just start light, do heavy in the middle, and end with light? How we want to do this?
That sounds fine.
Let's
sandwich it.
Yeah, we don't want to give y'all all the trauma at one time, right?
Right.
So, well, let's start off with last night's Essence Festival of Culture. Yes, okay.
It's always going to be the Essence Music Festival or just Essence Fest. But
yes.
Sure, Essence Festival of Culture.
Yes. Good evening from the quarantine zone, Mr. Sloan. How you doing? Yeah. But yes, last night, this entire weekend was the Essence Festival of Culture 2022. It returned to the city of New Orleans after 2 years of operating in a virtual space. What I thought was really incredible was, however, the folks at Disney worked out that deal to stream it live on Hulu. For those of us who were not in New Orleans, but even we originally wanted to be there. We had plans.
I did. I absolutely wanted to see Janet and New Edition, of course, in person.
Yeah. So,
but the Lord had different
plans. The Lord had different plans. And so, nonetheless, we watched it on TV.
We streamed it via Hulu. We are Hulu subscribers. Thank you, the Walt Disney Company.
Now, first of all, for those of you out there who are like me, who just found out like 3 weeks ago that Disney bought Hulu, because I was wondering, like, why are they pushing this bundle? Why can't I just go back to my Hulu Live subscription and all of it? Just 3 weeks ago, I realized it when Whoopi Goldberg talked about it on.
They was the majority owner when I was still working.
I didn't know that. Okay. See, I didn't know these things. Okay. I didn't know these things. Anyway, nonetheless, oh, be ever. So, this is 27 years. I mean, I remember the first Essence. Yes. I saw Mark Morial.
I did see Mark Morial.
Well, I saw his tweet about what was supposed to be a one-time event when he was the mayor, this music festival, and that it has turned into this extremely extravagant. It always was big. For those, it was but it has grown.
It has grown quite a lot. And for better and for worse, that's the tough part of it, right? On the one hand, you love to see Essence and the Essence brand grow. A few years ago, what they were bought by Time Warner, and then for them to have been returned to Black ownership a few years later, that was a beautiful thing to see the Essence Music Festival grow. It's been a wonderful thing to see the large number of corporate sponsorships, even talking about, with Disney's ownership of Hulu and just whatever. Clearly, it was a massive cross promotional deal because they had spots. They had actual vignettes on GMA and GMA third hour. So they did a lot of a whole kind of 360 event sponsorship for Essence Music Festival in a way we haven't seen in really before. Walmart has always been a sponsor. Coca-Cola, Southwest Airlines. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely grown. Now, the detrimental side, of course, is that then, I mean, the tickets were expensive. I just, there's no other way of putting it. And at this point in our lives, I mean, after seeing Prince up close and personal, you just can't go back to the other seats. You must remain on the floor. And that it's going to be pricey. So,
and we've been on the floor multiple times.
Yes, but Prince was
an investment.
Your husband can.
It was an investment. But so for me, I think that, and I had this conversation earlier. Shout out to Dr. Larissa, who's watching right now. We had a conversation earlier about those who were local. So my first year going to Essence, I had just graduated from college. They did have all of these experiences, the empowerment,
right?
Experiences that are free and open to the public,
and they still have that,
and those still are free and open to the public. However, there is a definite delineation, like VIP access to the free events versus just where everyone was mixed and intermingled.
Yeah.
I know that historically, at least that first night was kind of like the locals' night. So those people who work in the hotels and work in the restaurants, they would get dressed in their white and come see Frankie, right? Those first at least 10 that I went to.
Yeah.
And I just feel, I feel that, in the effort of growth, and growth is great and it's fantastic. I don't ever want the locals to be priced out. And I think many locals were priced out at this.
Yeah, it's been for a few years. And then to your point, that's another thing that changed. Obviously we know Frankie Beverly has gotten older, and so his ability to perform a closing, be a headliner, it has changed dramatically. But at the same time, that was something that people really looked forward to. You knew the last night of Essence, or at least one of those nights of Essence, Frankie was going to usually close out the show, if I recall, and you wear your all white to celebrate. So though a lot has changed. Like you said, you don't want to see growth impeded, but at the same time, it's like, where we strike the balance? Yeah. Where do you strike the balance? And then the other aspect of it is, I've heard many people, read and different things where people were saying, some facilities, some restaurants, they closed down early, and shout out to all the stupid people who say stuff like, well, black people spend a whole lot of money. So I'm not sure why they would ever close you have people traveling literally from across the world to come in for Essence Music Festival. No, Essence Festival of Culture now. And they are spending a lot of money to be there, from Uber drivers or Uber rides or Uber Lyft transportation, flights in, eating at restaurants, staying in hotels. And so why any business would want to shut down, that's what I do not understand that. Well, I was there a few weeks ago. I had to do a little quick drop-in trip and fly back out. And the Uber driver that I had, he was like, oh, well, a few weeks ago I was really busy, but it's been dead. I said, do you know what's coming next week? And he was like, no. I said, it's going to be busy. You're going to do good. And he was like, okay, thank you for letting me know. Oh, wow. So obviously he is not new. He's new to the city and then unfamiliar with the experience. And so, I love Essence Festival. I want to be back, but I will say this. As I lie in my bed, enjoying New Edition and the Isley Brothers and all of that last night, I was so very grateful to be in my home, because the Omicron B2A or BH5, whatever number Omicron subvariant we own that's going to come out that dome, is going to be serious. If you all are not aware, they did. It was a last minute thing. I don't know how well they enforced it, but they did ask for vaccination, not just a negative test, proof of vaccination. Now, of course, in reading the information that you passed along, it sounds like vaccines don't even matter against this particular variant.
Not against this variant, not against this BA.5. And I'll find a link to the article and we'll drop it in the comments. But yeah, this variant, they are hoping to tweak the mRNA vaccine to pick up this subvariant because like Omicron is like Nick Cannon. It just done had all kind of babies. Omicron done had all kind of babies out there, okay? All right, it's on 5.
Right.
I know Nick was up to 8, but this is 5. So trust me, by fall, it's going to be up to 8. Guaranteed. And it is in the city
of Nick could possibly have 8 more by the fall.
Well, there's that. I know here in Orange County, we're at like a 22-23% test positivity rate. I know in New Orleans, they're in about that same range. Everywhere is super high right now. And it's the dominant strain is this variant. And I would just say, folks, be careful. Beyonce said go outside. She said we outside, but she don't mean indoors outside. Like that, at least that's how I'm interpreting the song. When you're indoors, you gotta wear a mask, and otherwise be outside.
I mean, you don't have to.
I got caught up.
Yeah,
we both got caught up.
But but everybody, I mean, I really could probably count on my hand the number of people I saw flying out of Phoenix with a mask on. Myself being one of them.
Interesting.
But yeah, shout out to all the performers at the Essence Festival of Culture. We have to throw out some. Obviously, we have to shout out Janet, Miss Jackson, if you nasty. I mean, 50 plus. Not sure how she lost all the baby weight because I swear she just had it on last month. But she is petite again, but shout out to Janet. I mean, just a legend. So that's that. Shout out to my boys, the new addition,
who always understand the assignment.
Always understand the assignment, understand the audience.
They do not like the way they put their set together. Yes. Like the songs, it's like you will be moving the whole time. And I know someone commented on my post, like, I don't know how she was in bed watching because my body just automatically got up.
Absolutely. I literally was performing a whole concert. and hence the reason I just saw them in March and was like, I was stupid for trying to wear heels, but I thought that I could wear heels.
That part, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I know Robert was like, I hate her. Why don't she sit down somewhere? But and then I have to shout out Kimberly Denise Jones. I have to. Even though I'm not exactly sure who, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing negative. Kimberly Denise Jones, it was good to see you.
How old is she? She getting close to the 50 set? She gotta be getting close.
Yeah, well, let's see. I think Kim should be.
And if y'all don't know who Lil Kimberly Denise Jones is, that's Lil Kim. But I will say this. I do need to tell my people something.
47.
She getting close. That's what I say.
And that baby is only 4'11". Jeez, what? Kimberly.
This is what I want to say to all y'all. Listen. This is what I want to say to all my people. Because Ashanti was on it. Ashanti was on it. Ashanti, whatever your name is. So 2 things. 1, we gonna need to leave the Brazilian butt lift alone, y'all. Now, K. Michelle already told y'all about all the tragedies,
but she got it injected.
She got the bad stuff. But I'm saying, the rest of y'all, leave it alone. Because y'all gonna have some torn ACL, some torn MCL, some torn meniscus. Because with your hips like this, I'm trying to get in the frame. With your hips like this and your knees down here, can't hold that weight. It don't work. It don't work. And I'm gonna need y'all to
shout out Isley Brothers. I'm not about to let Dimitri keep talking about this. Shout out to the Patty LaBelle 78.
Come on with it. Look, Patty, and even
Debbie
Allen got on the stage and danced with Patty. Them women in their 70s.
Yes. I know, little Kimberly.
And they understand
Ashanti,
the assignment.
You want to get there.
You want to get there.
Don't mess up your body. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I went.
Yeah, that's okay.
I went left on it.
It was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Essence Digital. Thank you, Essence Publications, I guess, for always giving us something.
And shout out to the GOAT Susan Taylor for having the vision and making it happen.
Yes, the GOAT Susan Taylor.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, all right.
Who's Melissa Hinton?
I don't know. Who is Melissa Hinton?
Oh, maybe she's tagged. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe she's tagging people. Okay, Lord damn. All right. So next up in our high topics, Highland Park Parade.
I don't know. Should we wait until we talk about what does independence mean? Because I feel like this speaks directly to that topic. All right, we can talk about it. We can talk about it now. Listen, I was on the plane and saw that there was a shooting today at a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. And I don't want to. So this is a tragic situation. 6 people have died. I think approximately 24 were injured. I don't want to make light of this situation, but I must say, for everyone who's always talking about what about Chicago, but what about Chicago? Mm-hmm. This is not Chicago. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's fair that the news media even approximates. Yes, it's the biggest city, mm-hmm. right? But don't even approximate it, because it plays into a narrative that suggests that these sort of things happen in Chicago, but they don't happen in a place like Highland Park, because Highland Park, and I've seen people say it, Highland Park is a nice neighborhood. Mm-hmm, it's a well-to-do neighborhood. It's our area. No, tragedies like this strike everywhere, because sadly and unfortunately, we have yet to be serious about the gun laws in this country. Mm-hmm. And we must do something different. Yeah. At last I heard the shooter had not been apprehended. I don't know what the latest is. So, mm-hmm.
I mean, so I haven't done a Google search yet. I probably could do a Google search. This is probably because of the number of people is why it's made the national news. But we have a mass shooting every day in this country. Yeah. We have an addiction to violence. Mm-hmm. We have an addiction to guns, and we have an addiction to, our father watching Westerns. We have an addiction to thinking we live in the times of the gunslingers. Like, we have an addiction and an obsession with violence. And as a nation of people, we have to decide, how long do we want to let that addiction ride? Because yes, absolutely. As a nation, we have chose violence. We have always chose violence. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about Independence Day, but even at the founding, it was violence, right? Mm-hmm. And the narratives that we tell ourselves, because we don't want to really fully examine things with truth and honesty. Mm-hmm. We have this mythology around even the inception or the founding of this country, but it was born out of violence. Mm-hmm. Most places, I mean, there's a lot of violence. So we need to take stock that in a modern society, like, because we're not living in medieval times, like, right. We're not living in the dark ages. So as a modern society, what is the role that we want to have as a society, and for the betterment of who and what?
Yeah, I think for me, I cannot get with this. We talked about the overturning of Roe v. Wade a few like last week.
Mm-hmm.
Just feels like it was so long ago now. Last week, and I cannot get with this idea that we want to say that people want to say that they're pro life, but life, we are every day watching life be destroyed.
Yeah.
And doing nothing about it. When that is something with it, like I don't even understand why I don't even understand why privacy and medical issues become a part of the national lexicon or the national conversation, but
or legislative policy
at all, right? But literal gun violence, and the fact that in this country there are more guns than there are people. When we've had this repeated conversation about for lack of better words, weapons of mass destruction. All of these certain guns, they are made for the intended purpose of killing
mass
a lot
destruction.
of people.
Yeah. Killing as many people as possible in a short period of time, and many of them were weapons of the battlefield.
Yes,
they were weapons of the battlefield that have been adapted to personal use. Like who the fuck wants to have personal use of like guns of war? I don't
know, but I also know that it is important for us to take, as Jeff said, we've always chosen violence in this country. It's important for us to actually look at how a lot of these weapons were flooded into neighborhoods and what the historical background of those things. And to me, if we understood that a little bit more, then we would make different choices and decisions about how we legislate guns and gun violence in this country.
Yeah. Well, since we're on a heavy topic, let's go ahead and roll with that. And so we want to talk about, as Christina mentioned a week ago, we talked about the Roe decision being overturned by the Supreme Court. And so just recently, or this past week, now this did not happen this past week. This is just kind of the report of this story that then lets us know about the unintended consequences that happen when people make legislative decisions and make healthcare decisions without care.
Or without fully understanding
the ramifications.
Yes, the scope of the conversation. As we said last week, we have been talking about Roe v. Wade in the scope of quote unquote abortion, and our definition of abortion is so limited because it has become this thing that people believe is a birth control mechanism for the vast majority of people who have them. And that's just not the case. It is a medical intervention. And so now we have a situation where in the state of Ohio, because of the very restrictive laws that have been passed, we have a 10-year-old girl who has been raped, and it is what happens to her when she cannot get abortion care in the state of Ohio. She now has to drive over state lines. I believe it's to Indiana.
Yeah, so she traveled to Indiana. She was 6. So they have a 6-week ban in place. So she was 6 weeks, 3 days. That was deemed by the doctor. So that one doctor there who saw this child was like, oh my gosh. So she reached out to a colleague across state lines to say, can you do this? Now, who knows what's going to happen as the Indiana legislature is looking to put in more restrictive laws. But the person who raped her needs to be held accountable. Absolutely. The person who I just everybody, so many people. Now, what I do know for sure is that people who are trying to this Republican talking point now that it's an opportunity or it's a blessing It's child abuse. And I've done a lot of work with the Department of Children and Families.
Mm-hmm.
They deal with a lot of heavy issues, okay? And I'm just gonna say that, folks, children are being harmed every day. So when you like real pro-life, there are children out here who are being harmed every day. And to say, oh well, then she could just have it and have it adopted. Do you know what a pregnancy would do to a 10-year-old body?
Well, that is a huge part of it. And as somebody said, do you understand that by the time this young girl is 18 years old, a senior in high school, she would have an 8-year-old who's in second grade? That make sense. That doesn't make sense.
No,
that doesn't make sense. So, and I don't care what happened back in the day and what have you.
We ain't back in the day. That's the part. We supposed to be better. We supposed to have evolved. We're supposed to have moved forward as a society. And like I said, as a modern society, we're not in the dark ages.
Right.
As a modern society, I mean, what do you do with that?
I don't know.
So I would say, folks, that you need to make sure you check your voter registration, and you need to vote, and not for the what sounds good, the line that sounds good. Mm-hmm. Look at their policies, look at what they believe in, look at what they're supporting, and vote these people out, because there are no simple solutions to complex problems. But for us to have the majority of people believe that this is a healthcare choice and option that needs to be available, and that should be between a woman and a doctor, or a child and their doctor, whoever that person with the uterus.
Yeah.
It should be between them and their doctor to make that decision and what's best for them. For these people who are like, ectopic and septic pregnancies and all of these situations, and you and I were talking about this, and I don't think we mentioned it here. Like, me personally, I know women who were told at 7 months, this pregnancy is no longer viable, right, and now you have to deliver, or you deliver now, and this pregnancy is not viable, right? So you deliver it now, or you wait and see if your body is gonna go into birth, right? And then you deliver it at 9 months and see what happens. And because again, there's no guarantee that the whole natural process would occur, because the fetus is no longer viable. I know people who have had ectopic pregnancies, end up in the emergency room, doubled over in pain, and is an ectopic pregnancy. And it's an emergency situation. It's not let's just see what happens.
Right. No, I actually had a friend who coded, like, she died, but she was revived. She was able to be brought back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these are, and even, the fact of the matter is, when a woman hits the age of 35, it becomes a geriatric pregnancy at that point. Mm-hmm. And so, for someone like me who's 10 years post that, or nearly 10 years post that, my friend and I were having a conversation, and it's like, well, we can't even risk what it might be to get pregnant, because if you do, and God forbid something happens, and you're in a state where the lines are so blurred, you don't even know what your outcome could be. Like, it literally could be like, oh well, you're gonna die.
Yeah. So... and that is the time in a woman's life when she is closest to death. Right. Is when she's pregnant. And I think people take that for granted, because we do have 7 billion people in the world, so that we take that for granted. Right. But we are a society that has accepted, when you talk about violence, we have for an industrialized country, we have like one of the highest maternal mortality rates. Mm-hmm. And then for Black women, the maternal mortality rate is even higher. And so we've accepted these these choices that are inhumane. And I just think that we need elected officials. Now listen, they don't try to gerrymander this thing up. They have
ain't trying.
They've gerrymandered it up in most of the states. These Supreme Court justices are definitely even in the lower courts, in the lower federal courts. Like we need an overhaul of this whole system, because the truth is, a few who want to remain in power, because really I think they don't have any marketable skills. I mean, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, I think most of the people who they fail up really well. And they end up, with all the information they have for the committees they sit on.
We talked about it. Oh girl, what's her name?
Cassidy Hutchinson. Yeah.
Hutchinson, 25 years old, and you the aide to the president's chief of staff. Like, that never happens for us. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into that. But I will say that perhaps, and my friend and I were talking about this too, we must stop having this conversation about the system is working exactly how it was intended to work. The question becomes, how long are we going to continue to accept the system?
Yeah.
And does that mean we all need to be like deuces?
We gotta be like Sophia. Ooh, all my life I had to fight.
Maybe it's time to look for other.
But Sophia home, listen.
I mean, I know it's hard to think about the fact that our ancestors built this land and we should not have to leave, but maybe it's time for us to talk about alternate solutions. Maybe it's about dual citizenship other places. Maybe if our vote is not respected, our money is not respected, maybe we should take our talents elsewhere. I mean, why we can LeBron James situation,
right?
If all of us leave, it's gonna crumble. So
if all of us leave, it will surely crumble, because we built this thing
exactly from the ground up.
With
nothing, not even knowing the language,
not even on the language, not even on the land, and
with no resources.
But again, like folks say, y'all got this history twisted. They when they went and raided the continent, and those countries where they raided people from Africa, specific countries, they did it because of specific talents. Don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were great. And we still are. But anyway. Next.
Moving right along. All right, it's halfway mark. You are tuning in live with Hey Sister. We are on a special 4th of July episode. I don't know what y'all cooking over there. What y'all cook today? Let us know what y'all cook today. Yes, join the conversation in the comments. Come on, say something. We know y'all got something to say. And definitely like, follow, share, subscribe. Let folks know that we are Hey Sister, and we're normally on Sundays at 8 p.m., but today
8 p.m. Eastern
time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So y'all know, find y'all time zone in between. But we like to every now and then do a special episode. Our new sister was coming to town.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just give the people a little something different when they see us sitting together. Yeah. So here we are. And it says Demetri and Christina, but actually Demetri and Christina.
Yeah.
Whatever. Y'all know who we are. I hope so by now. Yes.
Okay.
Fish and salad, too hot to go anywhere. I know that's right.
Okay, so if any of you follow Miss Charlene the Christie show, boy, she did a meme and she had people. It was like, "Oh, I heard y'all having something outside." No, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Not outside. I got to be inside with the coolant. She said, "Nah,
you got to stay inside your own house because you can't be inside these public places like this."
She said, "Y'all having a cookout, I can't come. But if it's a cook-in, you can talk about it.
If you're gonna be inside, okay. If you're gonna be outside, breathe that air in.
If you're gonna be outside, breathe, but still."
And my little fan, my daughter has taken, because I have my little fan that sits right here, but clearly it's gone. So, gosh.
Hi,
Miss
Happy 4th.
Yes, happy 4th to you. So let's see what else we get into. Okay. It's time for some foolishness. So if y'all not ready for a little foolishness conversation, we got to talk about some foolishness. Now, I didn't see the McDonald's video, but I saw a snippet. Burger King. We're gonna talk about the Burger King guy. I think we talked about him a little bit.
I think so, but we've got more.
We got
the numbers.
updates.
The numbers are going up.
The numbers are looking good. Now, listen, them that one movie ticket and those 2 pins that my brother got.
2 things of life. Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Okay. We're gonna do this in sequential order. McDonald's, go. Tell them the story, sister.
Listen, I may not get all the details correct, but apparently there's a sister out there who is upset with her baby daddy, number 4, because he came to her house with only enough food for his child and not for all the children that she currently has. She felt like she didn't want her other kids to be made to feel bad. If one child got it, why didn't the rest of the children get it, et cetera, et cetera. She had a plethora of, I guess in her mind, she has a lot of good reasons for why she feels the way she feels. I can't say that I agree with it, though. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to agree with sis. She has 4 children. I don't know how many of them have the same father, but this particular father, that looks like it might be it.
Yeah, I'm about to share this with y'all in the comments for those of y'all who didn't see it like me.
So she has 4 kids, and like I said, she and this gentleman only have 1, and he brought his baby the food. And
well, first of all, she was mad because he always brings just one for his child,
and she don't want her other kids to be made to feel bad. Listen, I will say this in the very grand scheme of things. Number 1, sis, clearly your other children's fathers have already shown you who they are and what they do. I think that there was an opportunity to see this brother as at least trying to do a good thing for his child. Now, yes, perhaps he could have been like, let me go ahead and buy something for everybody.
But she said she does this every day. Like if you listen to what she said, every day. But I'm about to out him now. I'm about to put him on blast now because he does this every day. So this has been going on obviously for some time. Now the question is the kid who's receiving something from his father making fun of his other siblings? Or her other siblings, because I didn't know the.
Yeah, well, I don't, and that's the thing. I don't know what the child is doing, but then again, you have attacked this man who drove up with some food because he didn't bring enough for all the children. And I just feel like at the end of the day, number 1, he doesn't have to do that. Yes, perhaps that would be a good thing for him to do,
right.
But it's not a requirement. And then for you to go throwing the food on the ground so now nobody can eat. I mean, if I'm the little kid, I'm like, what the hell? I mean, how you gonna throw away my good McDonald's meal? So I think, and plus, I don't know that brother's situation. Maybe all he can afford is 1 meal. I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, since you got all these other children and they got dads and you mad at the one who's trying to do something, I'm not gonna lie, I just feel like there's probably more to that situation. Maybe there's some unresolved feelings there, and maybe you want to keep dragging him because maybe he don't want you no more.
You keep dragging him because he keeps showing up,
and he don't want you no more.
But that's what I'm saying. But he's showing up for his child.
For his child only, not for you. That's what it seemed like to me. I mean, I'm just gonna put it out.
But she gonna say different because she's already come back with a rebuttal.
She came back with too many rebuttals. Yeah. It's time for her to set it on down now.
Like, okay, and I did see this. So what caught my attention? I hadn't seen the story, but the memes of the little McDonald's burger cut in 4s. Like I saw the memes, like people were like, they're quarter pounder, that's why it's a quarter pounder. You cut that thing into 4 quarters, right? So cut it up into 4 pieces, divide the fry, share the drink. But no, she wanted to be spiteful and nobody eats. Yeah, that's for sure. The nice thing to do is to buy for the kids, but they aren't his responsibility. Yes. Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, Marquette. It's nice, and
it's nice to have it. Not a need to have a requirement.
And I think again, but if you are in a place where you're angry because of something else,
right,
then this is something you would lash out at.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be really honest about what okay, let's talk about our co-parenting arrangement, what that looks like, or what we would like to do, and how we do certain things. But again, child, you got to be a certain level mature for that. And the fact that you were videotaping this tells me that
you're not there. I mean, and let's call it what it is. As the people say, I wasn't even looking for all this, but you got lashes, you got your nails done, sis. It don't sound like we need to be. You had some weed flowing. It don't sound like we worried about no kids eating, because clearly you can afford for them to eat. And I didn't understand. I heard it was something about the food stamps too, because he know that she hadn't got her food stamp money. I'm not going to be able to feel sorry for you. Again, you're every mother that I know sacrifices for their children. Is it right that your kids' daddies are bums? No, but they probably was bums when you was messing with them. So I can't. I don't need to call them people bums. I don't know their situation. My point is, they not doing nothing, but you looking like you taking, again, yes, long eyelashes, fresh wig or weave. Come on, sis. Come on.
And Jaime, you're absolutely right. He could have demonstrated empathy, but there was a key thing she said in there. She said every day. He does.
Did she say? Let me see this. You got the video. Did she say every?
She said every day.
She said he always does that, which always could be once a month or once every.
But he's done it more than once.
Okay, because he keep trying to explain to you, them ain't my kids, and yes, he could show empathy, but he does not have to, and that's the part she not understanding.
Ooh, child. Well, let's move on to the other fast food chain. Let's go on to Burger King. So, I think it's about a week ago, we saw a gentleman from Burger King who he had worked at Burger King for 27 years and had never missed a day. And it was titled like "Loyalty Pays Off," and we felt so bad, like because he was so genuinely happy about the things that they gave him in his little bag. So clearly it looked like it was a Burger King that's in the airport, because it was in one of those clear HMS host bags. And he got like
he got a movie ticket,
a bag of Reese's Pieces,
2 ink pens,
2
rolls of Lifesavers. Come on. I just was like, what in the what for 27 years? So yeah, it definitely, and he was extremely grateful.
Oh yes.
And I really felt like I felt really bad for him, because in the moment, now look, I was saying, look, I don't know that man. Maybe he's independently.
His name is Kevin Ford. He's
54 years old. 54 years old. So he's been working half his life at the Burger King.
Yeah.
And perhaps, like I said, maybe he's independently wealthy, and maybe they were like, hey, what do you get the man who has everything? I don't know. But what I do know is what they got him was a shame. And Burger King tried to come out and say that was a peer-to-peer gift, that's recognition, that's not what he gave. But you see, here's what I know, Burger King. If y'all had given him something better, y'all would have just said that. Y'all would have been like, that was a peer-to-peer gift. No, we gave Mr. Ford an all-expense paid trip to Cancun. Or we gave Mr. Ford $100,000 in company stock. But y'all didn't say that. All y'all said was that was a peer-to-peer recognition gift, which means y'all ain't gave that man nothing for 27 years.
27
y'all
years.
Said 27 years. Who celebrates 27? We did something for him 25, and it was in the middle of the COVID, so he really didn't get nothing then.
He never missed a day. day of work in 27 years. Hold on, let me do this math real quick because I can't do the.
I mean, he probably has days off. Like at least, let's say he has 1 day per week off. I'm sorry, that would be 52 days off in 365 days.
9,855 days.
If you count no days off.
If you count no days off.
I'm sure he has some days off. But the point is, I have yet to commit to anything for 27 full years.
He works at a Burger King in an airport. You saw the HMS host bag, which tells me he probably don't have many a day off because the airport's always open.
He doesn't have many, but I'm sure he has 1 or 2. The point is,
Kevin,
I am
so glad
that your GoFundMe.
Whoever set up the GoFundMe,
his daughter set up the GoFundMe because
she hadn't seen her daddy.
She had not been able to see. He didn't come to. He wanted to come and visit her and her his grandbaby.
Yes,
and so she was like, hey, if you want to bless him, like no requirement, but if you want to bless him, she set up a GoFundMe. And where are we at now?
We are over $300,000 in there. I see even David Spade.
David Spade started it. Well, not started, but he gave one of the biggest contributions. He gave $5,000.
Yes. So y'all, we dropped the links in there so y'all can read. Let's read what these comments. They expected him to be on that schedule. He ain't got no time to go to God in that mind. Tell me about it. Look, they should have given him a franchise. Talk about what a way to reward somebody, to really change the trajectory of their life. Because he was retiring. He's retiring at 54 from working at Burger King for 27 years. But y'all could have changed the trajectory of his life and his whole family life by giving him a franchise and ownership.
Well, like I said,
y'all still got time, Burger King?
You do, but like I said, think about this. I don't know, last month.
I would have. Listen.
So last month was Pride Month, as you all know. And you know that Burger King in Australia, maybe not all over the franchise, but Burger King in Australia decided to do this great campaign for Pride, where they had 2 top buns and 2 bottom buns, and you could have tops or bottom. That's what they thought was great for Pride. Now, here's the thing. I know how much companies pay agencies. They probably paid an agency
$100,000 for that foolishness.
Well over that. And for a campaign that they had to end because it was so egregiously ridiculous. And Kevin got 2 rolls of lifesavers because he's been saving their life for 27 years.
How about that?
But thank God for the GoFundMe. And Kevin was able to go see his daughter.
And his grandbaby.
Yes.
So yay! There is some goodness in this world. And that's what we hope to focus on every now and then. But listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all gonna stop hiring these marketing agencies that give y'all boo-boo and y'all have to end these campaigns.
Or just hire me. Or just set up a GoFundMe for me and give me $300,000. For no reason other than because you should.
You should be. No. You got a film you trying to finish, girl.
Yes.
How about that?
Absolutely.
You got a campaign they could go on there too. All right. So y'all are live with Hey Sister right now. Let's see what else we want to talk about. Oh, Ursha baby. What y'all know about that Ursha baby? Did y'all get into Ursha's Tiny Desk? And see, I'm saying Ursha because that's how it says, right?
Yeah.
But USHERRAYMOND.
You know, never messing up the flow.
Listen,
how the hook go. Come on.
So after last week we talked about the versus debacle and the no Marianne and the no Jay and the
unpleasure P,
and the people who need to drink some hot tea and put some lemon on their throat. Usher comes on NPR, has the Tiny Desk series.
If y'all have not, let me just say this: if you don't know about NPR's Tiny Desk, any musician that is about that life goes to NPR and performs. First of all, I would like my job. Can I nominate our job to have a tiny desk.
Yeah.
We can have a large desk. I just want someone to come and perform on a regular basis at my job. So yes, Tiny Desk NPR has been knocking out of the ballpark for quite some time.
Yes.
And let me tell you, Mr. Usher Raymond
did not disappoint. So I'm dropping the link in there so y'all can go watch it. I know then you went ahead and shared, because I shared this one with you, and then you shared with me El DeBarge.
He had a tiny desk from home. Monica had a tiny desk from home also that was also magnificent. Listen, I've seen Commons. The Roots, of course, were one of the original ones.
Tank and the Bangers
was banging. Moo Fresh. I mean, it's Tiny Desk is the thing.
Yes.
So Usher Raymond, let me tell you my quick Usher Raymond story. So Usher Raymond, years ago, I remember, and this goes back to Essence too. I remember at one point he was kind of referring to himself as Mr. Entertainment, and I remember being like, well, I need you to slow down. Like, that's a little bit arrogant kind of thing. And then it was a year that Luther Vandross was supposed to perform at Essence Music Festival. I don't know if it was a year he was supposed to perform or the year he passed away, where they did the tribute to him.
I think that's what it was.
Okay, so when he passed, they did the tribute to Luther Vandross at Essence. And that doggone Usher came out and sang "House Is Not a Home." And then I was like, okay, you can be Mr. Entertainment moving forward. And then back in 2004, I told you I used to love Kanye West. Kanye West was the opening act for Usher on the Confessions tour. And I went to Atlanta because I knew Kanye was born in Atlanta. And of course, Usher's from Atlanta. So I was like, well, he's from Chattanooga, but he's been living most of his life in Atlanta. Yeah. So I was like, I know they're going to put on a show. So I went to that show. You all were still living there at the time. And I didn't even go to see Usher. I went to see Kanye West because I was in love with Kanye West at the time. And not in love with him, like just loved his music. And then...
because that was College Dropout day.
That was College Dropout, yes. And people didn't really know him yet. Yeah. And so I was like, I got to go see Kanye West. And then I experienced an Usher concert. Now, he came to Southern when I was in college and did, you make me want to leave the one you with. Yeah. Start a new relationship.
That was 97.
This is what you do.
Girl, that was like...
Yeah, he performed for Southern University. Shout out Southern University in our homecoming concerts. But, yes, so I had seen him, but this was a production. Baby, when I tell you that next Monday... Confessions came out on CD. You children don't even know what that really is about. And I was at the Target as soon as it opened. And I walked in there like, hey, I'm trying to get this Usher. And the man was like, well, we hadn't put it out yet, but I'm going to go get you one.
Go get you one from the back since you here early.
Yes. As soon as it opened, because I was like, this dude, he is, and he is.
Yeah, well, if you watch his Tiny Desk, watch it. We got a comment here. Ray J, aka Willie Ray Norwood Jr. Yes, he's a junior. Sounded like a drunk Willie Ray from Cole, Mississippi.
Well, someone said that Ray J sings in the key of one wish.
He whoosh. He sings in the key of... Listen, but Usher's Tiny Desk, the memes. It's just the one meme. Like, what's this? Honey, listen, I have had so much laughs this whole week.
Hashtag Usher on Twitter or Instagram.
You'll see it. And there's so many memes. Like, there's a whole just thread of wedding planner themes, like on Usher. Like, oh, my little cousin gonna be the ring bearer. He gonna do good. It's like, watch this. Hey, listen. And so who is
Vito
and Eric
Bellinger.
His background singers, the live band, it is all that, and it's worth your 20 minutes. And if you got to drive to do tomorrow, just put it on.
Yes.
In the car, and just you will not be disappointed. I promise you.
I've already listened to it twice, and I plan to listen to it a few more times.
Yes. It's a good, like
I
when
need
you're
to
taking a
start-
shower, getting dressed, all that.
I need to find Vito because
Now, who?
I don't know. I've heard of Eric Bellinger.
And if y'all hear the booms out here, that's because people in my
No one
neighborhood
hears
is doing these
Ooh,
fireworks things.
Eric Bellinger has a new album, new light out
Okay,
now.
we have to check out
Eric.
Eric Bellinger. All right, so
Oh, there he goes, Vito the singer. Let's follow Vito.
okay, but I'm trying. He reminds me of a dude who was on Making the Band. That's why he looked.
Oh,
So is that him?
I don't know.
On the Making the Band with
literally
Diddy?
just followed him.
I don't
Let's
know.
see.
We're gonna find out. But the last thing that we wanted to get into tonight is what does independence mean? You know, I know we only have a few minutes left, but
Yes.
you know, today is Independence Day. It is the founding of America, right? 4th of July, 1776. Although we know that there was people here before then, right? And then there was the whole, there are people who were native to this land. There were people who had already traveled over to this land. There was the colonization of this land. You know, these were British colonies, right? And so they wanted to separate from Great Britain, from that crazy king that they had, and become their own country. So, you know, having independence, having freedom is something that I think all humans want and desire. But in these days, most recently, the way that our political system is moving, instead of continuing to progress to having more freedoms codified into law, it's like we're moving backwards in time and reversing freedoms and reversing independence and taking away rights. Even here in Florida, you know, people talked about the quote unquote "don't say gay" bill. Oh, that's not what it means. It means you can't. Well, now they actually literally are telling teachers you can't have a picture of yourself and your spouse if you're gay in your classroom. Like literally telling people they have to erase their life. That is not independence. It's tyranny. And I just want to say we have to decide, do we want to be an independent and free country, or do we want to live under tyranny? And I think many of us are choosing tyranny for comfort, because we think that, you know, I've attained a little bit of dollars in my bank account or a certain car that I drive, and that it won't ever impact me, but it's impacting each of us every day. And the Roe v. Wade decision is an example, especially for those of us who were born with a uterus, that being able to make your own healthcare decisions. There's no other medical procedure that I can think of that is legislated like this. No other medical procedure that's legislated like this. And since women are now the majority population in the United States, we're 51.1% of the population, there should be no law that restricts our independence. That's what I have to say. What do you say, sister?
I say that America was founded, and there are a lot of principles and ideas about what it means to be, quote unquote, the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I think I always think about the fact that, you know, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, which suggests that our union is not perfect and never has it been perfect. So I think the question always comes to my mind is, are we really working to get to that, ascertain that more perfect union, or do we just kind of want it to stay status quo? Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who are benefiting from it being what it is. A lot of people are, you know, this. So you brought up the Roe v. Wade overturning, that whole conversation. You know, a lot of people are relying upon there being a poor class in this country. So that's why they don't want women to have access to abortions, because they want to maintain a class of people who cannot afford to be out to get out of poverty
and to be independent.
And to be
because independent is all about freedom, right?
Yes. And so, so one of the things that I was looking up just now when I was listening to you talk is today, Isabel, or I don't know if it was today or whenever, but this weekend, Isabel Wilkerson. Some people may know her from Warmth of Other Suns, the book Warmth of Other Suns. Others may know her from the book Caste. But Isabel Wilkerson was on TV earlier, and she said that this July 4th, so basically it's been 246 years since the end of slavery. And the time enslaved people spent enslaved. So from 1619 to 1865 was 246 years. And now America has caught up to that at 246 years. So our American independence catches up with American slavery at 246 years of both of them. So that's a start statistic when you think about it. 246 years of enslavement, and now, both this country's independence and enslavement have celebrate 246 years. And so, I think at the end of the day, my true hope is that we would ever get to a place where people can experience what it is to be truly independent. And you say, as a person with a uterus, the impact of the Roe v. Wade. I say, as a person with a uterus who is a descendant of enslaved people, I just don't believe that anybody should be able to regulate my body or legislate my body or have, agency over my body. You've done that before. You had that before.
For 246
years.
Yes.
You don't, and to be honest, if we're really honest, if we go all the way from the 246 years of enslavement, another 100 years before the Civil Rights Act of 1965 and Voting Rights Acts in 1964, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then you consider when Brown v. Board of Education, we're still talking about that's 346 years. Then you add on to that just all the, over the years, the gerrymandering of districts, the crack epidemic, and how, we were crack, cocaine, and guns, and all these things were purposely flooded into our neighborhoods by the federal government. When you think about redlining, you think about all these things. For people who look like us, we've never had independence in this country, and I'm kind of ready to have some. So,
yeah, and also the Native people, right, who were many nations within this one nation. What does independence mean for them?
Right,
when you were killed, mass murder, genocide, and removed from your land. And there was treaty after treaty after treaty that the United States broke.
Yeah.
There's not one treaty with native countries.
There's not one treaty with anyone
that the United States kept their end of the bargain.
Right. So, but I gotta respond to this.
Oh, I don't even know who this is.
I don't know who they are, but I have to respond.
So the first question,
where were you? Hassan, I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
Question, where were your ancestors in 1776? Clearly you jumped on late, so you missed when we already addressed that. Then you said perhaps it would be a good idea to know your history. Again, clearly you jumped on late. See, I don't like people with keyboard courage. Don't come for me if I didn't send for you. Put a picture of yourself. Say who you really are. If you're a troll and this is what you do, find somewhere else to go. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. So as we were saying, girl, because I can't. Not today.
On this Independence Day. You will miss
60 minutes of the show and then want to come with questions. No, not today. So as we were saying, what does independence mean? It is a struggle. It is a struggle as a brown person or a person of color, as a Black woman, as a woman in general. It is a struggle to feel deeply connected to this nation because of the atrocities, and then what we see is the continued atrocities. You know, again, for a man to have been shot 60 times
for a traffic violation.
And I keep saying we shouldn't even be stopping people for traffic violations at this point. No. So that deeply,
because y'all got cameras everywhere, take the picture and boom, send them this ticket and keep it pushing.
Right.
It's just so much. But the other thing I want to say is, so 1776 is the founding and the Independence Day for this country.
It was the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
But my thing is, are we a country anymore? Because the way the Supreme Court is setting it up, we 50 nations.
Yeah, well,
you know, much. Because to me, it's like, you know, that was this balance of, you know, we have federal rights because we are a United States. Mm-hmm. But if we're gonna have 50 different set of rules, then are we really a United States? Right. So I really wonder where we're going as a society. Let's see this comment. The court system and the Republican Party has been desperately pushing us back to the time where states' rights are considered more important than any individual right that has been protected by the federal government. Civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, and basic human rights that have historically been trampled by states is now in vogue per our SCOTUS, and our representatives are not using all their power to stop this. I think that is said very well. I'm going to like that comment.
Yes.
Very well said. And so what does independence mean? And are we a United States? I think those are questions that we have to ask ourselves as we prepare for the primary seasons that are going on, mm-hmm. as we prepare for the general election season. And we didn't even talk about this. Did you see that Dr. Oz wrote the name of the town wrong on his the town he's supposed to live in Pennsylvania? he wrote the name wrong on his
So how is he not disqualified?
On his his candidate registration?
Because you clearly don't live there. So how you know?
We know he live in New Jersey.
Right.
Come on, man. So what does independence mean when someone can blatantly just, I'm gonna run for office because I'm trying to do a power grab?
Well, like you said, and Jeff said as well, we don't sound like a country. We don't sound like the United States of America. We sound like 50 individual nations which have differing laws about everything, including the voting process. And even when we vote in a national election, we don't have a standardized process. So to me, that says a lot about who we are and where we're going. And if the Supreme Court again wants to say if nothing that was ever in the initial Constitution is to be questioned, or rewritten or what have you, then that means nobody has rights in this country but white men.
That part. So that's it. So we thank you for tuning in to this special 4th of July episode of Hey Sister, and joining our conversation as we got into some hot topics and discuss what does independence mean. We hope that you find some independence and find some freedom in your world. And I want to give a special shout out to my daughter and my husband, who both celebrate birthdays this week. So happy birthday to you. Hey, happy birthday. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We love you very much. And thank you all for tuning in to Hey Sister. Bye, everybody.